let me introduce myself. I'm Joel Singer. I'm the CEO of the California Association of Realtors, and we are truly honored to have the guests we have today. I know many of you know our guests. They are, as I say, living legends. Let me do a very quick set of introductions. I'm going to ask them to more or less introduce themselves, but we've got Marty Rodriguez from Century 21, a longtime national leader in production, and just a terrific person to have on this video. Thanks so much for being with us, Marty. We also have Eric Johnson from Sotheby's International. Eric is in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we'll talk a little bit about the luxury market and also share his views on where we are in today's marketplace and the broader set of questions that we'll be dealing with. Ron Wynn. Ron has been on our session many times before. Ron's a leader in Southern California real estate. Ron has been doing real estate for a generation, let me put it that way, and brings a great expertise. And then again, in terms of living legends, we've got Stephanie Vitaco from Keller Williams. Stephanie is continually rated the #1 top agent. She won that again with Keller Williams in the nation, and that was 2019. So back to her normal standard. And then I'm also delighted to have with us Ivan Estrada. Ivan's with Douglas Elliman. Ivan, I've had the fortune of knowing Ivan pretty much since he started his career, and he's just grown incredibly into one of the top agents in the west side of LA. And thanks for being here, Ivan. We're delighted to have you as well. Just a couple of observations, and I'm going to turn it over to our panelists. Obviously, these are unprecedented times. They're unprecedented, obviously, with the pandemic. None of us would have predicted it. None of us would have expected it. None of us knew what it was going to mean to real estate. I think we're learning on a day-by-day basis what that means. But these are also important times because of social change. We're looking at a situation in the United States where the realities of systemic racism, the realities of inequality are coming home. And I'd also like to give all the panelists a chance to talk about that as they see fit. Particularly, of course, in that the housing market is so basic to the situation we see in systemic racism, the economics of housing. All of that fits together into a pattern where you've seen some messages from our association. It's a call to action to start to deal with those issues as well. And again, I think our timing is great here because we're starting to loosen up in the marketplace, and that loosening up in the marketplace, I think, has us all asking, and the numbers, by the way, we're going to put out our May numbers. They're going to look terrible. I'll just tell you right now, but that's looking backwards. I can also tell you our June numbers and our July numbers are going to look entirely different. We can see in the pending sales a great resurgence in the marketplace, and long run, from my perspective, we're extremely optimistic. Not going to come back overnight, but it's going to come back fairly quickly. And from my perspective, housing is going to be one of the big beneficiaries of these social changes. We all recognize how important where we live is today at a much different level, at a gut level. And we're already starting to see that in terms of what the consumer is telling us in some of our surveys. I think housing is going to be one of the leading sectors coming out of this downturn. And as I say, it won't be overnight, but I think there's lots of reasons to be optimistic. And certainly with that in mind, let me turn it over to our panelists to first just give us a little bit of background and just make some opening comments in terms of where you think we are, where we're headed, and anything you'd like to share. So let me start with Marty. Please.
Well, I think that, like they said, if COVID was going to hit, it was the best time for it to hit. Unemployment was at 4%. We had millions of buyers, and the economic situation was great. So even though, we've lost a lot of buyers, we still have so many buyers in the marketplace right now. And the problem is that we don't have enough properties. And I think that people took a step back and said, I'm going to relax. No. We need more listings. We have too many buyers and no properties to sell them. We just got to get everybody back to work to get those listings because we have buyers waiting to buy. And we have buyers calling saying, I think this is going to be a time I can get a deal. There is no deal. The deal you get the house. That's the deal. If you can get it, because I have agents making multiple offers over asking and not getting the properties right now. particularly in the affordable price ranges.
Thank you, Marty. Eric.
There we go. Yes, I see the market in San Francisco. I'm Eric Johnson at Sotheby's in San Francisco, and the luxury market here continues to move quickly, and we're experiencing a change in the dynamic of the Bay Area real estate market. We're getting a lot of families that are looking to leave San Francisco and move to the outer suburban areas because they realize they need more space. This whole shelter in place situation where parents are having to homeschool and they're having to work at home and they're living in a 15 or 1700 square foot flat with no outside space is causing sellers or buyers to want to move out to the suburbs where they have backyards because they now need more space. So what that's doing is it's creating a new opening for more inventory in San Francisco, which is like amazing for my buyers because we've just traditionally had such a tight market with such low inventory that now's the perfect time for buyers to come in and have less competition and get the house that they want.
Thank you, Eric. Stephanie, your thoughts on where we are?
I'm Stephanie Vitaco. I am based primarily in the San Fernando Valley. Our inventory here in the Valley is so low. Sales are absolutely, closings are down. Sales for May are up tremendously, but the number of sales, literally, it's the lowest that I've seen for both April and May in my 32 years doing this. We're experiencing multiple offers. I agree with Marty, if it's under $1 million and it's priced right for what it is, we're getting anywhere from 10 to 25 offers per property. So I think as long as interest rates are low, people are still very excited, but we have no inventory.
Ivan?
Hi, everybody. Ivan Estrada with Douglas Elliman in Beverly Hills. Our inventory, I mean, I feel like it's the same song, right? Like the low inventory song. It's been like that for a while. In the price points, I would say a good 60% of my business is like the 1 to 2.5 range. Super low in inventory. Prices are going up. You know, we just listed 2 properties, 2 condos between one was in Brentwood, the other one is in Santa Monica. And those are multiple offers. You know, some of them, they're just doing the virtual showings online and submitting an offer. On the higher price points though, you know, 4 million and above, that's where I'm seeing a lot more inventory. But the thing there is that, you know, it has to be priced well. A lot of sellers, including some of my sellers, still have a number in mind that I don't think is realistic to the times that we're in now. And so there's a lot more inventory to look at in the $4 million and above. And so we'll see how that kind of plays out in the next couple of weeks, in the next couple of months with what I'm hoping some major price reductions so that we can move some more of that inventory that is seeming to kind of just lag a little bit.
Thank you, Ivan. Ron, can you talk about where we are, and can you also kind of transition us into what do we do next?
Thank you, Joe. Yes, Ron Wynn here with Compass Real Estate. I'm in the Santa Monica area, servicing from Pacific Palisades to Beverly Hills and south to Playa Vista and Marina Del Rey and Culver City. So I would say that for me, this is all about a contrast that we've been experiencing from a market that was no doubt the best market in my entire career. I was slated for doing $250 million this year, right after coming out of last year at almost 200 million. And then with 50-year low interest rates and everything, unemployment non-existent, and everything playing right into the palm of our hands. And then the stock market going down 25%, 11,000 points down on the Dow. It felt like overnight, maybe it was over a short period of time, and things coming to a screeching halt. So now it's been the contrast and coming out of this, and I can almost pinpoint week by week by week what's been happening. I'm going to agree with everybody else on the panel that what's been happening this week is exactly, or the last 3 weeks, what you're hearing, and I won't repeat it all. Multiple offers and a lot more buyers than we have inventory. But certainly what's been going on leading up to that has been a total roller coaster and a total tug of war between buyers and sellers. And the biggest obstacle that I had to deal with is sellers who were saying, pull my property off the market. Don't even talk to me about it. I am not going to be a sitting duck for lowball offers. And buyers who are saying, just give me a chance at this because I know that this is the best time to buy. Interest rates are down, but sellers are going to have to drop their price 25, 35% to, otherwise they're going to be sorry and they're going to have to drop even more if they wait longer. And this tug of war, this resistance was to me the most excruciating of all until I really learned to just let it be for a while. Just don't go after it. Just be a good listener. Just understand both sides and admit that I don't know. I don't know which way this market's going to go. I hear you and I hear you, and I can give the buyer rationale why sellers are feeling the way they do, and I can give sellers rationale why buyers, but to say to them, I don't know, and just to go along with it. And once I stopped resisting and going along with whatever it is and just keeping an open mind and that mantra of being flexible, that's when I was able to proceed and move forward. And it all just fell into place now. And as everybody on the panel is saying, we've got tremendous demand.
Thank you, Ron. The question I want to pose is, obviously when the stay-at-home orders went into effect, we didn't really know what to expect. What have we seen? What have we learned? And how will transactions change as a result of this experience over the last 3 months? Anyone want to jump and take a stab at that one?
I could actually go. So I've for the last 10 years, I've always been the guy who goes to the office Monday through Friday. I'm in and out all day, but I've always been the office guy. Before I was in real estate, I was in accounting. I was a CPA, so being at the office was a thing you did. So I just carried that forward to real estate, and it's played out very well for me. My biggest concern was, can I do that from home? In my head, I was like, there's no way I could work from home. My transaction coordinator, my assistant, I have a team member. There's no way we're going to be able to accomplish what we need to accomplish together, and also for our clients, because it's a very people person oriented business. I love seeing my clients. And to be honest, the last 3 months have been the most productive months of my entire career. We've been able to get things done a lot quicker. There's less distraction. I've been using the FaceTime and the Zoom for years now. So this was a really good time to implement those and to still have that connection, not personal, physical connection, but we can still connect as much as we possibly can, doing this. And so that's really kind of carried forward. And a lot of my clients now are like, wait, we should just do these type of meetings. Like, this is not necessary to do a lot of in-person, especially now with what's going on. But just knowing that you can do business from home, it's totally possible and totally doable.
Thank you, Ivan. Marty, how have you adjusted? I mean, how did this roll out from your expectations to where we are today, and what's going to change?
I think when it first came about, for me, I was still so busy. So I kept being busy, just being more particular about who showed my listings, and realizing right away that, COVID wasn't going to be stopping any of these buyers, maybe a few sellers. But then when I talked to my seller, says, no, this is the best time to sell because there's not a lot of houses on the market. And this is the best time for you to be on the market when you don't have as much competition. So I was able to convince them of that. But in my market here, I'm still going out, with my mask, a lot of, face-to-face. I've got to see the property. I got to feel the property. I can't price it without looking at it. I tell people, I don't just sell real estate. I feel real estate. So for me, I'm still going out to, look at them. I'm careful who comes in to see the properties, who doesn't. And at the beginning, I realized that I didn't even have to have that many buyers through the property. I just had the most qualified buyers through to put the transactions together. So I think because it happened so quickly to me that I never stopped working. So I'm still working and I'm still prospecting and I'm still going out to see clients, and I'm still calling agents trying to put transactions together, because, me, I will beat a dead horse to life. And some of these transactions, I can put together, on the telephone by talking to people, making them happen. But I just wish that more agents would get more listings, because I think a lot of them are relaxing during this time, because we need listings. We'll sell your listings if you just get them, So I think we just need to put America back to work. We need to put our real estate agents all back to work, because I don't think everybody, is working. I think some people take advantage of COVID thinking, well, this is the time to take a little time off, to relax, but it's really not. It's the best time to be working, because there's a lot of transactions that are waiting just to happen. As soon as you get the listing, the buyer will appear.
Ron, I know you kind of indicated you want to speak to this. Please, what's changed and what will change permanently, if anything?
Well, for me, the same. I am an at the office person, always have been. I was disciplined. I was raised in real estate. Everybody knows at 8:30 in the morning, I'm there. I'm there, the first one in the office. And my staff has always been trained to, we work from the office and then we come in and out throughout the day. But the office is our base. So for me, it's been a real roller coaster as well. It's been very difficult for me to adjust to that. And again, I would have to say, once I let go of the mantra that it's got to be this way, and the idea of waiting for it to be over, that was the first thing I had to get into my head and say to myself, this is not about waiting. This is about waiting. Waiting is out. This is about performing and doing it now. But my clients are all age groups and varying economic place. So it really is difficult to sort of create a one-step process that fits all. Many of my clients are seniors. I've got a real connection with people who are in their 70s and 80s who I've known for the last 30 years. And a lot of those people, quite honestly, they hear about Zoom and about FaceTime Live, and they're just totally perplexed. They say we don't do email, much less, talk about the terminology, and ask them to, we'll give you an app and, you have to use the link. And so what we actually did is I had people on my team assisting some of our clients by helping them learn certain things on their computer, learning how to get the Zoom app, and learning. We even had one of my team members teach people how to do Instacart and how to order food online. So we really had to revamp our whole way of doing business with our clients and spend a lot of time kind of teaching them the basics so that our sellers could work with us. And as far as buyers, quite like everybody else, we had to learn ourselves first how to deal with everything. And then we got right on the bandwagon and learned about virtual tours and 3D open houses and changing everything up and jumping on the bandwagon, which I will agree has been people have been very receptive to all of this. And it's definitely moving in a direction to be much more efficient. And as everybody on the panel said, a lot of this is increasing our ability to do more business and to be more efficient in general. And I think a lot of these practices will be here for the long haul, and we will not be going back.
Stephanie, and your market area is radically different than the west side of LA.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I shouldn't say radically different. It is radically different, as is London's. And San Francisco is always a world unto itself. Have you observed the same changes? And are any of these going to be permanent? Are we going to, virtual touring, the use of technology? Are these going to be permanent? I can speak from my standpoint. Basically, I think we're going to be operating remotely for the foreseeable future. With some office space, but the impact on office space, from my perspective, is going to be dramatically downward. and small retail as well. And hopefully that leads to some other consequences that we may talk about. But do you see any of this as permanently different? And your market environment is radically different than what we've heard from the West Side Beverly Hills experience.
Right. So I am the suburb to the West Side. So people who commute into the city tend to live in the San Fernando Valley, where our average price point is, we have we have low end $300,000 condos, and we have $5 million, $6 million properties in Calabasas. But our average price in the San Fernando Valley, Reseda, Van Nuys, Encino, Sherman Oak, average is about 700 to 800,000. So we're in maybe a more affordable range. I can tell you that, well, when shelter in place hit, and it's one of those things where I'm sure we all remember who we were on the phone with, where we were, what's going on. Well, within 2 weeks after March 19th, we opened 10 escrows. We were on such a tremendous momentum in February. It was just on fire. So the momentum was still going, but everybody was confused and frightened. And of those 10 that we opened in the next 14 days, 6 of them promptly fell out. Then 4 of those went back in. So it was, we just called it revolving door real estate. It was going in, going out. And they weren't falling out because of our lack of vetting them, not at all. It was completely fear-based, completely fear-based. And then I would say after the first 2 weeks, which was everybody adjusting, of course, the people who were in denial or they didn't want to deal with it, and then the people who immediately went under the bed and just hid. The next 2 weeks were really quiet. And I'll never forget, I've been doing Zoom for a while, not regularly and not certainly with my clients, but I was familiar with it. And I had a woman call me and didn't know her at all, complete cold call. She wanted to interview me about her house. And we decided that we would Zoom. That was actually her idea. So this was going to be my first Zoom listing appointment. And I was working from home. So my appointment was at 5 o'clock. I didn't even get dressed that day. And I thought, okay, I got dressed, ready for the Zoom meeting. And I click on and I see her name and she goes black on the screen, dark. And I said, oh, I can't see you. And she said, yes, that's right. And I had to do the whole listing presentation to a dark screen staring at myself. It was the most bizarre thing. So I personally still think there's so much to be said for body language and for reading someone's cues that you just can't get that on Zoom or on FaceTime. It's just a little different. So I think that for us, it's changed the business. Maybe 80% we can do with technology, but there's still something face-to-face. I have a client I met with last Friday, and we decided to list, and I said, would you like me to send you everything electronically? And I could tell by her questions, I said, look, I'll just come over. So I went over, and if I hadn't gone over to her and done it in person, it would have been a mess. So, but we wear masks and all of that. And I think that the whole, in trying to find a mask that you can sit where you're speaking to somebody for an hour and your mask is like the material's going and it's sucking in and my glasses are fogging up. There was one point I just pulled it out and I said, I can't breathe. So those kinds of things are a little annoying, but you adapt.
Eric, San Francisco, technically, they should have no problem with us, but I know they did.
We should have no problem with the market?
With the technology and so on. But obviously, it's the same way. In terms of some people get it and are able to use technology. What did you do? How did you react? And San Francisco had an even tighter set of regulations in terms of what you were permitted to do than Southern California.
It was very intense, and the rules kept on changing about every 4 to 6 days. So we were trying to just stay on top of it. And I like what Ron said about the key is to be flexible and not hold too rigidly to any one particular doctrine or methodology or the way that we have done it in the past. I think that this whole shelter in place dynamic is actually a blessing for us. And it's increasing my skills and my skill set. So yesterday I was out showing $3.5 million condominiums with views of the Golden Gate Bridge and Alcatraz and phenomenal properties to a client in Hong Kong. So I was Zooming with them in Hong Kong. And the gentleman in Hong Kong's sister lives here in the Bay Area and came to assist me. And it's just a new way of doing things, but it doesn't mean that it's any less effective. I think what it means is that we as realtors have to up our skill set so that our Zoom techniques and our presentations on Zoom is mindful and speaks to the needs of the buyer or seller that we are either prospecting or is actually officially a client. So from the lighting in here to whatever is in the background, I too really believe that this is a people business, and it's about emotional connection and trust. And the environment that is behind us communicates to these potential clients who we are, what we're about, and the energy that we are bringing to the table. And so I think it's one of many of the skills that are really important that we bring from our face-to-face interaction. Well, I guess this is still face-to-face, but in-person interaction to interaction on the screen. And I was really surprised. I had my first open house the Sunday before San Francisco went into shelter in place. And it was a 2-bedroom condo in Noe Valley for about 1.6. And we were shocked. We didn't know what to do. We had one open house. I generally have my homes on the market for 2 weeks, have an offer date, and then collect offers and review them, and negotiate the price higher for my sellers. And in this case, we didn't have the second opportunity to have another open house weekend. In fact, I couldn't even get people to come into the home to show it because that wasn't even allowed. So I was very flexible, and I said to my client, well, we can't do it my traditional way of 2 weeks on the market, 2 solid weekends. So let me harvest whatever opportunity came through the door this Sunday, and let's see if we can get multiple offers. And thank goodness we did. And I was able to negotiate the price up about $230,000 over asking. I received 2 offers. We were on the market for 1 day. And it was all cash, closed in 10 days, and moved on to the next. And I had 2 subsequent closings where I was nervous that the buyers were going to try and renegotiate the deal or back out. And so there was a skill in figuring out how to effectively communicate with the other side, not in person, but through technology. And thankfully, it just kept on going. I think just having a positive attitude and just making sure that we are presenting ourselves in a way that our clients understand that we're here to be of service. And then all of a sudden, their apprehension about this technology becomes less and becomes business as usual.
Thank you. Just a quick answer, if I could, from each of you on 2 things. One is, what is the one piece of advice you keep telling yourself in this market situation? And secondly, what is the one thing you would like to see everyone do as we move forward and as the rules loosen and the reopening occurs? Just real quick, if I could get it from each one of you. The one thing you keep telling yourself and the one thing you'd like to see everyone act on moving forward. So Marty, can I toss that to you? Is that okay?
I just keep saying change, adapt, change, adapt, change, adapt, because I have been through, 1989 fall of the market to 97 going up, 2007 coming down. I've been through, I've been doing this for 42 years. And, I remember in 2007, I felt like I was a brand new agent. I had to learn how to do short sales. I had to learn how to do REOs. I was starting all over again. And so for us, we're not even having to start all over again. I just think, because, you and I go way back, Joel. There was, we had pagers. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have computers. So, you and I have evolved, and we've had to learn so much, through this process. So these kids, they don't know how lucky they are. It would take me all day to do a CMA when today I do a CMA in 5 minutes. So it's so much easier to do business. loans, the lenders, your front end ratio was 28%, your back end was 36%. You know, and people talk about being tough to get a loan. No, you guys don't know what tough is. Joel and I know what tough is. So everything is so much easier, but yet also with the changing, adapting technology. And, you know, I work with my kids. So thank God that I do, because I've, you know, evolved into this technology, and I don't know everything about it, but like Henry Ford said, you know, I don't need to know everything. I just got to make sure I've got the people that can get me the information. And that's what we've done. And what I like about today is, you know, we take pictures, we do Matterport, we do, you know, aerials. So when you get a buyer, that buyer's pretty qualified, because when he's already seen that property in so many different ways that when he's calling in, he's, you know, very well qualified in many ways. First of all, you know, it's going to be that the loan side is going to be qualified, but now he's qualified the property in many ways. So when he comes in, you've got serious, you know, better buyers, serious buyers. So I really, you know, I really like that. But I'm going to keep adapting to where this new normal is going. And I do miss my office. Like, you know, like I told you, you know, I'm like Ron, you know, we're office person. I like structure. I like that. Even though in the mornings I start at home and then I'll go to the office, but, you know, staff is there. And I think that staff, you know, they like the camaraderie. You know, I think we do a better job at the office. You know, we got more high powered, you know, copiers, scanners. And, you know, I feel like when I'm home, it's taking me longer to scan something I can scan in, you know, like in 30 seconds at the office. So I don't know. I'm just I know that life will never be the same. Real estate will be different, but I will be different, because I've been different every single year for the last 42 years. So I'm ready for any change they want to throw at me.
Thank you, Marty. Again, the one thing you keep telling yourself, Ivan, and the one thing you'd like to see everyone do, you know, moving forward here.
Yeah. Marty, I love your energy, by the way. You're just got me up. I love it. The thing I keep telling myself is just be open-minded. I used to think I was open-minded. I've realized that I wasn't as open as I thought, and just being open and saying yes to everything, you know. And the thing that I would say that I love about like what's changing, and I actually read this book. I love books. It's called Who Moved My Cheese?
Oh,
and
yes.
It's such a good book, right? It's all about adapting. And you know, just like Stephanie said, technology is not going to replace us. We're still in a people business, but technology is there to help us. I've upped my game in technology and learning new tools, how to make things easier for my clients. You know, most of my clients are within the 20 to 45 age group, 27 to 45. But then there's my other clients that are, you know, in their 70s and 80s that, you know, technology is probably not something they're going to adapt to. So I have to adapt to them, and that's completely fine. But right now, I think it's just adapting to our clients, listening to our clients, and being able to really be there. Are they great with technology? Great. So am I. You're not good with technology? Don't worry. I've got your back. So I think those are the two answers to your question, Joe.
Right. Thank you, Ivan. Stephanie, your thoughts?
So the first word would be breathe. The second would probably be, I had a yoga teacher years ago who's a wonderful man, and he would always say, because anybody who knows me knows I'm not really a relaxed, calm person. I'm a little tightly wound. And he would always say, yield to it, just yield to it. And I think there's sage advice in that, because when you think everything's going crazy and you can't control it, take a breath and know that you'll get through it. And that really it's going to be okay. I mean, I actually think that out of all of this, I think that we're in some exciting times. If you take the positives of this, we've never been globally unified where everybody stopped at the same time, and really kind of in some ways, although despite all the crazy unrest that's going on right now, which I think is exacerbated by having everybody locked in their homes for these months. But really, I find people are much nicer to each other. They're taking moments when you're in the line at the store and you're 6 feet behind with your mask on or whatever. I just find people are being a little more unified.
Thank you, Stephanie. Ron, you want to jump in here again? What have you told yourself over and over again?
Well, I want to give credit to Pat Heller, our executive vice president, who was on a Zoom call a couple weeks ago, and she used the word resilience, and I loved it. I absolutely love the word. So I'm going to start off by saying we need to be resilient and quit being the victim. She separated it out kind of into two sections. Real estate agents have gone either to become leaders and resilient and have a I can do this attitude, and there are others who basically have used this as an opportunity to hold back and to be waiting for things to get back to the way they were, and they're just feeling the victim. So that is one area for sure. The other is to just, as Marty and everybody said, be flexible. Know that there is no right and wrong. There is not necessarily only one way to do things. We have to adapt and adjust to everybody else. I had a very good client years ago who was the head of psychiatry at UCLA. And I was having a meeting with him, a showing appointment. He says, sorry, was running a little late. I had to give some extra time to a very important patient. And he said, I said, you know, I'm so curious. We always talk about real estate. Tell me, can you tell me anything? Obviously, it's confidential. He says, well, to be honest with you, my patient was complaining of seeing Martians. And we spent about an hour and a half discussing seeing the Martians that were, you know, just making his life miserable. And so what I realized, and that was so many years ago, is that's what we do as agents. If our clients are seeing Martians, it's not our job to talk them out of it and tell them there's no such thing as a Martian. It's to listen to them, understand, ask the right questions, guide them through it, give them the comfort, let them know that they're being heard and understood. But the last thing in the world we want to tell our clients is there's no such thing as a Martian. So moving forward, I just feel that agents can learn a lot from all of us, because across the board, we're all saying the same thing. We're all saying, have an open mind, be flexible, recognize that we're in changing times, recognize that every client sees things through a different lens. And it's our job, as Eric said, to adapt to the way they need to work. And if it means that we need to come their direction because they're not capable of dealing with technology, then let's do it. And if they're more comfortable going a different direction, then if we're going to do business and we're going to be their heroes, then we've got to kind of hear them and foresee what it is that's going to make them comfortable, because in the end, it's all about them and it's not about us.
Thank you. Eric, what code words do you tell yourself? And I guess I'd also like to really shift towards looking at the next few months and recognizing that, we're going to open up at different paces in different part of the state. What should, agents be doing in order to get principally listings? Obviously, we've got a huge listing shortage across the state in every market area and every market segment. So any thoughts on that?
Sure. My philosophy about real estate, and the reason why people select me to represent them in the purchase or the sale, is because they feel confident in my ability to get them more of what they want. So I'm writing a book that's the working title and cover for it there, How to Be Amazing. And my whole focus is on how I can be the most amazing version of myself that I can be in this here and now moment. And what I realize is that people come to me because they want to be led in the direction of their dreams. So I have these little sayings all over my office that I've made up. And this one says, be a leader. It says, people come to you because of your expertise and want to feel confident that you can lead them towards achieving their goals. So do your job, Eric. Use your expertise and lead. So that's one of my mantras that I think about every day, as I may be intimidated in a listing appointment, or maybe there's a really tough cookie that's interviewing, or kind of really coming at me, and I just come back to my core purpose which is, you know, if these people could do it themselves, they would. But they're not. They're obviously coming to me hoping that I might be able to get them more and lead them in the direction that they want. So don't get intimidated by how they're coming to me, because maybe they had a bad day. Maybe they just had a bad phone call before we had our Zoom. Just remember to be of service and come from a place where I'm here to be of service to my client. The other thing that I have on my wall is it says, stop playing small. It's all about giving ourselves as realtors permission to dream a bigger dream and play a bigger game and stay in the game. And I have right here, I didn't make it through all of that to come here and play it small today. Nope, I didn't come here for that, not at all. I'm here to play to win. And I feel like if we keep this positive attitude and come from a place of abundance as opposed to fear and lack, our clients are going to sense that, and we're going to continue thriving through all of this. And lastly, this silence, this quiet period that we're having, it's like a wonderful opportunity for us as realtors to grow our market share, because there's less noise out there. There are a lot of agents that are waiting for things to change. So people aren't getting bombarded with postcards right now. It's the perfect time to get oneself established in a market or a neighborhood and farm that market if you're like into farming, and really establish a presence. So when the machine starts moving faster and opening up, you're a step ahead of the game.
So again, thank you for your comments. What about, you know, the next steps? Obviously, we're still restricted. You know, we can't legally do open houses, although I do see open houses signs around. And we expect that to change pretty quickly. Hopefully, you know, and I know all of you first concern is for the health and safety of your teams and your clients. But what are the next steps to getting back to the really strong market we had in January and February? And what actions in particular should the agents who, you know, perhaps are in a period when they haven't had a lot of listings, or because of their own health concerns have had to really sit it out in terms of the physical contacts with their clients, what steps should they be taking moving forward? Anyone have suggestions in that area, Rob?
So for me, everybody seems to know, who in my circle, that one of the ways I've generated business for years and years is by door knocking. And I'm sure there's a lot of people listening to this call who are door knockers. And I have been receiving phone calls from a lot of people from the association saying, Ron, can we door knock yet? Because this has been a whole new change for everybody. And all the door knockers out there know that there was never an official notice about door knocking, but you know, who would go door knocking during COVID-19? So I have not started, and I've not suggested to people that they do. And I don't really know exactly when the green light will be turned to go. But in the meantime, let's just assume that it'll be a while before we can door knock, and we don't want to be waiting. So we have to implement other ways of being in touch with clients and asking for business. One of the things that we do a lot more right now is just get more and more involved in networking, more and more involved with communities, more and more connected with estate attorneys, family law divorce attorneys, bankruptcy attorneys, just being more in front of people and in the course of conversation asking for business. Who do you happen to know who might need some help? Who do you know that might have some concerns about the new laws pertaining to eviction? Who do you know that I might be able to assist by connecting them because they need to get an equity loan or financing? And then being able to really connect with people more. And so substituting that door knocking for reaching out more to people individually and just making more phone calls and more connections between past clients and influential people in the community, servicing more, being just more front and center and out in front of people more. And I might add, I don't want to take a lot of time here, but I went back and I looked at my perfect day, because I know that's one of the things Inman is going to be working on next, and also about the 10 secrets to success that I had written down. And I'm going to just take a quick minute to go through those, because the interesting thing is most all of those secrets to success that I had written down are still available for all of us to move forward with. So the first one that I had on my list was focus on giving. And I really think that's something that was always part of my success formula that hasn't changed at all because of COVID-19. And we can be doing that and focusing on that. The other that I had written down was don't be a secret agent. So again, get out there in front of people, make yourself known, and stay in front of people any way you can. That hasn't changed. It never will. The third one, and this has been talked about all morning, is energy, enthusiasm, and ethics, the 3 E's. That's part of the success formula. That is important moving forward as much as it's always been important. Staying organized and focused. We talked about that over and over, and not overthinking it. Just do it, like Nike says. Hasn't changed, never will. Maintaining your goals. Have goals, maintain them. Becoming an authority. This is a really, really important one that hasn't been touched on that much. And it's really important. Knowing your numbers, knowing the stats, knowing your own numbers, knowing what's going on in the neighborhood, average days on the market, list price to sale price ratio, everything that's going on, median price, who's buying, who's selling, all the details about your geographic neighborhood. We can do that just like we always did. It's even easier than it used to be. The other is earning people's trust. We talked about that. How do you earn people's trust? By showing them that they're more important than you are, that they're the priority, that it's all about them. The other thing is to be the go-to guy. I've always thought of that. You know, make sure that people in your community think of you as the default person, the place to go when they just don't know where else to go, to call you. And the last two are want it badly. You know, show that you really care, make it a priority, believe that it's possible, believe that there's nothing because of COVID-19 that's going to stop you from being successful. And the last thing is provide value proposition, which is, you know, very, very important. None of those 10 things on the list have changed. The only one, the bonus one that I've added to the list to make it now 11 is the one that Pat Heller provided us. And I think it's brilliant. I'll say it a second time. Be resilient. Show that you are resilient and that you can deal with this and that this market is not going to stop you.
Again, you know, you had to change door knocking, and I used to live in his neighborhood. I know what he means when he says door knocking. Have any of you, Ivan, have you had to change radically any of your, you know, your chief prospecting, you know, approaches or anything else in your business approach? Have you changed your marketing? Have you changed anything radically now, given where we are and where we've been?
Yes, I have, because I rely a lot of my growth in my business is relying a lot on the open house opportunities that come in the door. And I understand that a buyer who's unrepresented is interviewing me to see if I might be the one. And sellers who live in the neighborhood may be popping over because they saw the sign and they were curious, and they're technically interviewing me for that opportunity. And so that channel of business is now gone because I'm not holding open houses. And most of the buyers that are calling already, and they're already engaged with an agent. So it's very important for me to look at where my past business has come from, the bulk of it. And 75% of my business comes from past clients and referrals from other realtors. And so I'm really focusing on strengthening those connections. And like Ron says, you know, don't be afraid to ask the question. You know, do you know of somebody that might need my services, who's maybe, you know, they're getting a divorce, or their mother or father or someone in their family passed away and they've got to sell property? You know, I'm here to help. And, you know, I would love to work with people who are like you. So please let me know if I can be of assistance to you or someone else. Just really just hammering in the message that I am here, I am open for business, and just like Ron says, I'm resilient. Nothing's going to stop me from achieving the success that my clients come to me for, COVID or not.
Thanks, Eric. Anybody else, Ivan? I mean, again, you know, have you had to change something, Ivan? You know, you using technology, obviously, but
Oh yeah. I mean, for me, it's like back to Ron. It's been about the networking. I went to USC, Marshall School of Business, so that's always been like a big networking hub for me. The CPA community, because I'm a certified public accountant by trade, so I dig in that community a lot. And then as a young kid, I used to be a singer. I used to be a performer. I was signed to a record company, and so I always like those are my networks. And it's been hard to be able to network with them in person because, you know, it was always, you know, a networking dinner or a networking lunch or a networking social. And so I had to get very creative. And, you know, this is something I was doing every Friday was I was sending a bottle of wine to, these were past clients or good people within my sphere of influence, asking them, do you want red, white, or pink or rosé on Monday? And then they would get it by Thursday. And then on Friday, there would be 10 of us on Zoom and we would just chat. And I was doing this every single week to keep that networking going, because for me, it's super incredibly important. And I think now more than ever is, you know, I've always been like, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? And, you know, and not really diving deeper into my database. So during these last 3 months, I was really diving deep into my database, calling people, sending video text messages, just literally putting up my phone. Hey, Lisa, it's Ivan, was thinking about you. Hope you and Charles are doing well. If you need anything, let me know. Send. You know, Eric had mentioned about market share. I've been doing this show, The Real Estate Minute, for like 8 years, and it does get a big amount of viewership. And, you know, while everyone was taking money away from their marketing, digital marketing, because I think that's huge right now, I was pumping in as much as I possibly could to get into new areas by using Facebook AdWords, by using targeted ads, using Google and YouTube, to be able to give out the videos. And especially, like, I want to be a knowledge broker. So I was doing a bunch of videos about the market stats. C.A.R and NAR have amazing information that we could use that, you know, Leslie Appleton Young, who I love, was sending me videos and slides that I was able to use to send out to my clients, and really hone down on what was going on just in a macro standpoint, but on a micro standpoint in each neighborhood. So, you know, just using technology and video, I think video for me has been huge. So using that to the nth degree.
thank you, Ivan. What about Stephanie and Marty? What have you changed?
You know what? I think that people have to remember, we have to stay in front of our clients. If we're not in front of our clients, then we don't have customers. Whether we're texting, emailing, calling, I'm still warm calling. I'm still prospecting. I've been in the business 42 years, but you know what? If I don't continue to prospect and get in front of these people, they're going to forget who Marty Rodriguez is. It doesn't matter who you are, who you think you are, you know, everything. Remember, success is the superb execution of the basic fundamentals. The basic fundamentals of selling real estate is prospecting, and it doesn't matter how you prospect. If you want to text, if you want to, you know, call, if you want to email, you've just got to figure out what works for you and connect with those people. So for me, I do it all. I call, I can text, I can email. You know, I will try everything to try to get my clients to, you know, to respond to me. And it's kind of, I don't know, and sometimes it's frustrating, you know, like getting the team, it's like, okay, let's follow up. And even myself, I know sometimes, you know, I'm not quick enough, fast enough, and I get mad at myself and think, oh my God, I was a day late, you know, and they, you know, and they listed with somebody else because my follow-up wasn't sharp enough. But, you know, it happens to the best of us. But if we don't do it, we won't have any clients. So prospect. Just figure out what is your comfortable way, what is your way of prospecting, and do it.
Thank you, Marty. By the way, no one will ever forget you, Marty. Stephanie, I know you use multiple ways of contacting your clients. Have you changed it any radical way in the last few weeks?
Not radically. I mean, no more FaceTime, more Zoom and that kind of stuff. I think more importantly than anything, I think we're also freaked out about, oh, we're not doing it different enough. I try to tune out the noise. I try not to get involved in the freak out and just say, just stick to the basics as much as I can, and then adapt and morph it to how I need to do. So like when it first hit and I had a client who wanted to meet, and we met in the street and we stood 6 feet apart in the street because it was the very beginning. And I was like, well, how do we do this? So, you just don't, for me, it's not listening to the noise and listening to what I can't do and what I shouldn't be doing and how the business is down and all of that. It's tuning that out and saying, okay, how do I make this work? So I think it was Eric who said no one was sending out mailers. So I usually send out a mailer every month. And when this hit, I thought, it would be really crass of me just to send out a mailer. Here I am, my usual stuff. And so I skipped a month. And then I thought I had to really give it thought. And so instead I sent out something thoughtful and soft. And it wasn't, I swear to God, if I get one more email from somebody saying, we're here to help, we're here to help, we're here to help, it's like, yeah, it's overload. So I just sent out a nice email with a poem that I found online about the pandemic, which I thought was cool, quoted the person, and I just said, we're selling homes with care and caution. We're here if you need us. And just simple, keep it simple. So not in your face, but just keeping it moving, keeping it going, calling your clients, saying hello, sending rolls of toilet paper, sending bottles of Lysol, things that make them laugh, sending a face mask to their house with a funny dog on it if they're dog people, or I sent one with golf clubs to a client of mine who likes golf, little things like that, just to kind of bring it down a notch.
Let's kind of change subjects slightly if we could, because obviously, these are unprecedented times in terms of the pandemic, but they're also, I think, sobering and unprecedented times in terms of what we see in terms of the racial unrest, the systemic biases that we're all now, I think, much more conscious of. Are you having conversations with your teams, with your clients on those issues? And I guess the biggest issue from my standpoint is, how can we move forward together? What should we as an industry be doing? And I don't know if anyone wants to comment on that, but I just feel it's a discussion we need to have. Anyone have any thoughts?
I'll pop in. So as a gay, LGBT, Mexican American human being, I'm very open. I always have been. I'm very proud of who I am. I truly believe in that everyone deserves an opportunity, no matter where they come from economically, or the way that they look, or their gender, or what they're sexually attracted to. And so for me, that's always been very important within my team. My team is a very colorful team, come from all walks of life. We do discuss things in detail, especially within the last couple of weeks. I've told them, look, with everything that's going on, please feel free to call me. My business coach, which I love to death, he's always about setting boundaries, and there's certain things you talk to your staff, certain things you don't talk about. But I think these times, it's all about being vulnerable and listening, and that's what's going to bring us closer together as a team. And so talking to my clients, on the other hand, my clients come from all walks of life, and most of them do follow me on social media, so they are very fully aware of how I feel about life and what's going on, without making people feel uncomfortable. I don't want to ever, I know everyone has a certain viewpoint on certain things, and I'm very respectful of that. My mother always said, look, the world occurs to you in a very different way. It occurs to me, occurs to your father, occurs to your sister, occurs to the neighbor across the street. So just be very cognizant of that and be very respectful. So I've always been very respectful, but at the same time, I'm very passionate about the humans' rights, and and I make it very, very obvious in my social media and how I feel, again, without insulting other people.
Thank you, Ivan. Other thoughts, Marty? Anything that you've been thinking about and talking about?
For me, it's just about my whole life. It's been I was Mexican. For me, I was one of 11 kids, and I can remember sitting in the car when people didn't want us to go in their houses because we were 11 kids. So I know what it's like when, people see us different. They didn't want 11 kids in their house. So we would sit in the station wagon because we couldn't go in the house. So I know what that feels like. So I don't want other people to feel that way. And, just being, Mexican American, our dad always, said, you earn things on your own merit. And, he taught us how to work hard. And we never really talked about, race or anything growing up. So for me, I think we grew up pretty colorblind, and that's how it should be. I don't care if you have, 10 kids or who you are, what you are. You're a person to me, and I'm going to respect you no matter what.
Thank you very much, Marty. Eric, anything?
Yeah, I've had a very interesting experience. I've been invited to speak on several panels and podcasts, and the most recent one was hosted by a gentleman named Chip Connolly, who's a very prolific thought leader in the mindfulness space. And I was amazed how I wasn't thinking about it from a business perspective. I wasn't actually trying to network to get business. In fact, I was a little concerned that maybe it might turn some of my clients off. But I just reached out to all of my friends, and my clients, for the most part, are my friends and have become family in many cases. So I'm sending out messages to them saying, hey, I'm going to be speaking from 6 to 6:30, blah, 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 blah. Come take a look. And I was speaking about the George Floyd situation and many, many other similar incidences that have happened recently. And I opened myself up to be vulnerable and speak my truth. And I was amazed at the response from my friends, my clients, my sphere, my colleagues, and the calls I got after I was on air, asking me more information. Eric, I'm a middle-class white San Franciscan or Marinite, or live in Sonoma. I'm not, and they're saying that they're not connected with the African American community. I'm probably the only Black person that they've ever professionally even encountered. So they feel helpless in how to understand and then also how to make a difference. And I feel very honored that people would come to me, and even want to know what I think. And I'm very honored that I'm able to speak from my experience and how I believe they might be able to help. And to that point, for all the realtors that are out here listening, we do a lot of referrals in our real estate world. And so I encourage you to consider making a referral to another realtor who doesn't necessarily look like you. We as realtors have an opportunity as individual business owners that we are to make a difference in our real estate world. And that means by opening up the financial possibilities for other people of color who are realtors in this business, and not look at it as a point of charity, but look at it as an opportunity to make money. And actually, instead of passing someone over because, I don't think, blah, 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 I'm not connected, take the extra step, go to their website. That's why I have my name is ericjohnsonsf.com, because that's my real estate website. And I want people to know that I exist and I'm here. And you can come to me. I don't want to be a secret agent. So check out these realtors and see if they are actually qualified and have what it is that your clients need, and call that agent, interview them, and give them an opportunity to get that referral. So I mean, it's not only just out there in the world, we are part of that world, and we are thought leaders for our clients. And housing is one of the fundamental necessities of life. So let's incorporate other people of color into the game and invite them to the table, so that we can make more money. And when we make more money, we're able to support our own communities in ways that are more intensive, because we live those communities and have a more specific understanding of how that money can be put to use for more significant good.
Thank you, Eric. Stephanie or Ron, anything you'd like to add?
I would
Oh,
just,
and I appreciate your referrals, by the way.
I would just say that, I mean, I was very fortunate to be raised by parents who taught me, you know, be nice to everybody. Just the very simple, the golden rule, just be nice to everybody, whether it's the janitor in the building or, you know, someone who is of a different, all social classes. And I think that it's very simple, but I think there's a lot of truth in it. Just treat others as you would want to be treated.
Okay, thank you.
I'll chime in.
Go ahead, please.
I really enjoyed hearing everybody's comments and particularly what Eric had to say about giving opportunities. Basically, I've just honed it down to the 3 L's, in my opinion: listen, learn, and look for opportunities. That's really where our mindset is at. It's obviously given us all opportunity to really spend time and soul search about this, and it's such a serious matter. Robert Rifkin, our CEO, who is we're a minority-owned company, they came out with a newsletter, and it was posted in Inman. There's $15 million a year being spent by realtors on marketing and so forth. And he suggested that 15% of that be targeted toward businesses that are owned by Black people, Black-owned businesses and vendors. And that would be $2 million going into the marketplace being spent by realtors. And he basically suggested to all of us that we focus on that. And I just circle that back to looking for opportunities, as Eric said. The opportunities to generate more income, make more money, throw that money back out there, and just to provide equal opportunities. So the whole thing goes back to equal opportunity, I believe.
Can I add just one thing here that it triggered in my mind? I have a listing of the beautiful property in Russian Hill, and my client, Kim Karp, is in PR and promotions. And we were brainstorming about what I could do to be more inclusive in my practice. And I mean, she's a white San Franciscan. She's not an African-American person. She's an ally, and I appreciate that. And really, we came up with a really interesting idea about doing a video chat in her property and having another realtor, sort of like what we're doing around table, and then putting it out there in the world. And at the same time, we are going to be opening up bottles of wine from Brown Vineyards, which is an African-American owned winery and located in the Napa area. So there are other ways that I can incorporate, or we can all incorporate and support this movement that's happening and make it more inclusive when we become more mindful of the opportunities that we can create. And I got this idea from a client, which is, I mean, I think awesome. So even having these conversations with our clients helps them have a deeper and more significant connection to us as realtors.
Again, this is an incredibly important moment in time. And, you know, from my personal standpoint, from the association standpoint, this is an opportunity to address things that need to be addressed so that we can all grow together. And the housing areas, I think, particularly telling. The homeownership rates among people of color are not what they need to be. And that leads to economic differentials. And again, one of the things I just want to say to all of you is you guys have always been great leaders in every area. And I just learned a lot from what you just said in the last 5 minutes. But this is an area where all of us really need to commit ourselves to change. And I just appreciate your comments so much. We're going on, as always. I always tell everyone this. The only session I ever do myself at our convention, where we've got like 50 sessions, is the top producer session, because you guys just energize me like I just can't believe. And so I've skipped answering some of the questions that we've gotten, but I want to at least give a little more time to you to answer a couple of questions we got from the audience, if you don't mind. And I'm sorry we're getting to them late, and we'll try to wrap this up in the next 15 minutes. But let's just a quick answer. One of the questions: what one item should a second-year agent focus on in these times? Anyone want to?
Video, guys. You got to do the video. You know, we are the brand, and even a simple. I mean, you have the best camcorder in the world, you know, in your pocket. So, you know, I've used BombBomb for such a long time. I'm heavily involved in Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and you know, just using video to speak your voice, to speak your truth, to be the knowledge broker in your industry, and to have these platforms. Most of these platforms are completely free, where you can, you know, market your listings, obviously, but also, you know, market your services. I think that's very, very important to be able to use video to brand yourself, brand your business, and have a voice.
Any other comments from?
You know what, I just want to share something. I think for, you know, for the people really trying to make it in this business, one thing I can tell you is learn something every single day, because I tell people, I don't just bring service, I bring value. I know everything. I've immersed myself in my business, so I know everything about my business. I know about construction. I know about construction materials. I know enough about taxes, you know, income taxes, property taxes, the assessor's office, about trust, about, you know, complicated trust, about probates. So you know so much about your business, you do become that person that they come to when they think about real estate. So if we can learn something every single day and be the source of information for them, now you've got things to share, you know, on YouTube, Instagram, things of value. Remember, service is a given. They expect that from you. But where you're going to differentiate from everybody else is what kind of value are you going to bring to your customers? What do you know? What can you do to help them beyond just buying and selling? Because some of my transactions are pretty complicated. And I know I say, God, if I wasn't the agent, I'm not sure this would have closed, or I'm not sure this would have happened. And sometimes they call me just to help them, not because I'm going to make money, because I keep helping, and pretty soon you don't have to worry about the money. It's the people keep coming back to you when they really want to buy or sell. So remember, every day, learn something about this business that's going to make you better, that's going to help you bring value to your clients.
Yeah. Any other comments about the second year agent, this person just starting, anything they should be doing right?
I'll jump in on that, Joe. So the main thing I'm going to focus on is show up and consider being a one-on-one. I love the idea of video. I love the idea of being interviewed or interviewing others, but I'm a big proponent of show up one-on-one. Reach out to people, make those individual phone calls, send those individual handwritten notes that you've written yourself specifically to that one person, no matter what it's about. Just somebody you've met. Make sure that they feel that you've touched them based, you know, just directly to them. Birthdays are a big deal. Stephanie has been awesome for years and years. I still get my birthday card from Stephanie. The idea of reaching out to people either with a card or a handwritten note, or a phone call, even better yet, for birthdays are really, really big. So again, I would take the position of don't be a secret agent, and don't forget that people love to be recognized one-on-one.
I'm going to toss to another question. Stephanie, I think this would be a great one for you and then the entire panel. I've heard you guys talk about this. What is the one thing you do day in and day out to be successful?
Go on as many listing appointments as I can. I mean, literally every day it's who do I have? And, you know, I know a lot of people are saying, well, what if I don't have any listing appointments? I always have, then I start going through my leads. When things get quiet, I have a stack of paper. Yes, paper, I like paper. I have a stack of paper on my desk where if I've gone on a listing appointment 6 months ago and they weren't ready, they weren't serious, they weren't motivated, just start calling, just start reaching out, because there's sales to be had in all of those notes, whether you keep them on your computer or you keep them on your desk. But every day, I want to have a listing appointment every day, and so it's my job to find one.
Eric, the one thing. Yeah.
The one thing I could say is give yourself permission to be successful in spite of whatever comes at you. Give yourself permission to be successful beyond your wildest dreams, and just go for it and do it.
Ivan, anything you want to add?
Yeah, having a good morning routine. For me, it's all about the mindset. I'm a pretty early bird. I'm up at 4:30 every day. I meditate for 25 minutes. I have a gratitude journal where I write the things that I'm grateful for, and then I read for an hour. I love to read. Right now, I'm reading Growth IQ by Tiffany Bova. Constantly, learning things like Marty said. You've got to be of value. So constantly learning and pushing the limits and just growing. And so just having that morning routine and a run. I go for an hour run and then I start my day. So those things really kind of build up my armor. They build up my fearlessness so that I can go after expired, so that I can call past clients, so that I can have the energy and the positive mindset that's going to push me throughout the day, no matter what obstacle I need to overcome.
Thank you, Ivan. Marty, heard you speak about this, and I'm always amazed. So,
What was that?
oh, with the one thing you do each and every day, and the most important thing that keeps you going, and you attribute your success to.
Oh my gosh. For me, I'm just excited about getting up every day and going to work. And now, I start really, if I don't have an appointment early in the morning, then I'm starting at home, on my computer, either getting my prospects together or, going through my emails. And then once I get out of here, then, usually I don't come home until late. That's usually that was my normal schedule. Although that has, changed now. So now I've got to, prospect at home and get most of my work done, here. And so I'm kind of anxious to get back to, I do like the office. I do like, being around people, because I am a people person. I've got to, other people I give other people energy. They give me energy. So I think what I do every day, like Stephanie said, is I've got to make sure I've got listing appointments. So if I don't have one, I got to be prospecting. And normally for us, we're warm calling, because like Stephanie says, we have a lot of leads. So I'm just going through my leads and I'm warm calling. So I'm not really having to totally cold call a lot of these people. They've called in at some time or another and we're thinking about, selling or buying. So I just want to keep busy. You can see I'm pretty hyper. So something's got to be happening all the time. Either my listing appointment, I'm prospecting, or I'm talking to somebody. And really what I did enjoy about this time, I've just kind of reached out to some of my past clients just to talk to them to see how they're doing. And a couple of them, it's like they are thinking about selling. So it's been kind of nice, because I had a little bit of extra time to be able to talk to people at leisure. So that was nice. But now it is back to normal, and just prospect, sell, work with my team, negotiate, try to put things together, do follow up. Some of these transactions, they're close, but they're not coming together. So I want to, make them happen. So there's so many things I do, prospect, negotiate, communicate, just keep moving. I don't want to stop. At my age now, every day above ground is a great day. but my dad lived to be 93. My mom lived to be 96. So I keep saying I'm still young for my family.
What is I don't want to, but we have to wrap this up. And as always, you guys have been just terrific. And now I'm energized. I won't sleep tonight with a list of things that I've got to do. And for the audience, we'll also be sharing the recording of this as quickly as we can. But I want to give everyone a chance to make one final set of comments. And we're going to have to keep them a little bit short. Is there an aha or a lesson learned moment, or is there anything you want to share with the audience? And I'll start with Ron, because I didn't get to you on that last question. So go ahead, Ron.
Well, I really think the important thing here is to focus on people. This is when I owned my own company years ago, and I asked people, why do you want to go into real estate? I loved it how people would say the two things we really love are houses and flexible hours. And those were the
Yeah.
people that I would never hire. Because the correct answer is real estate is about people. We happen to sell houses, but it's a people business. And, based on the last question that you asked, Joel, I think it's so important that we focus on every day. How many people did you talk to? What was your goal? Was your goal to talk to 10 people? How did you do that? And not just talking to buyers and sellers, but just talking to people in your geographic area, and also talking to agents. Being friends and having comrades in the business is so important. Stephanie and I have been mentoring each other for years and years. I've known Marty forever. And, there's a bunch of agents, us old timers, who just love to connect, and it really, really helps. But make sure that you're holding yourself accountable to talking with people. One thing I just want to share is people are so afraid of not knowing what to say, and they sit there overthinking about it. The idea, I learned something, and I'd like to give credit to who taught it to me years ago, but it's Ford. And I just want to tell everybody out there to remember FORD. F is family, O is occupation, R is recreation, D is dreams. When you get stuck and you don't know where to take the conversation, just remember Ford, and you'll have hours of conversation. Just be a good listener. Ask people how's their family, what are they thinking? What are their dreams? In a perfect world, when things are more in the palm of their hand, where would they like to go? And just let them talk. And they'll love you forever. Build trust. Make sure clients and everybody knows that it's about them and not about you. And just give.
Thank you, Ron. Stephanie?
So I think the aha moment, or the aha thing I've come away with from COVID is, thank God I love my spouse, and thank God I love my house. So those are two important things. And I think that a lot of people have found they either really do or really don't. I think it's the basics. Stay positive, stay focused, and turn off the noise. Don't listen to the noise.
Thank you, Stephanie. Eric?
Sure. I believe that all good things come from self-love. And if we can all practice loving ourselves more, learning to love ourselves more, all we have is our energy. That's what we self-generate. That's what we share with our clients. And when we love ourselves more, we take care of ourselves better. Body, mind, spirit. When we take care of ourselves better, we elevate our energy, so we have more positive energy to contribute to our clients and to ourselves. And we're filling our own tank up instead of looking for it to be filled up elsewhere. So just, these times are very curious. The COVID is making everyone feel vulnerable, and it's pulling away a lot of the denial and distraction that we have created for ourselves to not have to deal with accepting life on life's terms. And all of this can be frustrating, isolating, confusing, and exhausting. I know I've experienced exhaustion a couple of times in the past couple of weeks, especially with all of the racial tension and the murders of Black people all over our country that continue happening. And I just had to then recoil and pull myself back last Monday and say, I'm taking a day off. I'm staying in bed. I am not going to turn on the news. I'm going to just love myself and feed myself well and nurture myself and call my cousins and just figure out how to reinvigorate and reignite my flame so that I can be happier and so I can just have the power and vigor and energy to carry on.
Thank you, Eric. Ivan, any aha moments or anything you want to share as we conclude our?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think during pandemic and in certain times, there's a lot of room for opportunity. And that's the type of mindset I've acquired. And, and just learning from others. I actually met Ron Wynn 10 years ago through Fran Hughes, through Coldwell Banker University. That's just 10 years ago. And I remember him speaking and learning from him. And then I met Stephanie Vitacco through Rick Durgan and Harma like 9 years ago, and she's talking about REOs and, you know, learning from her. And now I'm a big fan of Marty and Eric. I'm gonna have to Google you guys, but for people who are out there, like, these are your wizards. Like, these people are icons. They, you know, they know everything about real estate like the back of their hand. And the most important thing I think to carry from that is learning from them and making it your own. So that's my last little tidbit.
Thanks, Ivan. I appreciate it. And Marty, I'm going to let you have the last word here. So,
You know what? What I really, really learned from COVID, and I've learned through the years, when I saw these people losing their jobs, you know, and I said, thank you, God, for giving me this career, this job that nobody can fire me. Nobody can fire me. Nobody tells me, you know, that they're going to reduce my income. They're going to raise my income. I am in total control of it all. Nobody can fire me but me. If my raise becomes effective, the day I become effective. And we are so lucky to be in this industry. So I just want to say thank you, God.
thank you, Marty. And I can't thank the panelists enough. Every time I have an opportunity to listen to you guys, I learn so much. I know our audience learned a lot. And again, thank you for also being so vulnerable and so open with the entire group. And to each of our attendees, we thank you again. We'll make this recording available, and we really appreciate it. This is a period of time when we all have a lot to do. There's some big, big challenges in front of us, and there's great opportunities, as you heard everyone say. So thank you all for being here. And again, see you all soon. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joel.